Hello, everybody. My name is Jules. I've been trying to find my way to a video for Andrew Yang for a long time now, and I wanted to start with rebuttals on the debate. First, let's discuss the fact that Andrew Yang got 6 minutes and something seconds, a little less than 7 minutes. And I'm going to tell you, most of the non-establishment people all got very few minutes and less talking points than everyone else. I wonder why. And then what were the questions that they were asking him? Come on, everybody. I mean, really? What is he going to say when he calls Russia for the first time? But I must say that he did come back with really good responses. Though I do feel, as Zach and Matt do feel, that he seemed a little nervous, a little unsure of what he was going to say, but at the same time, when you're being thrown ridiculous questions on the spot, I can understand how it could be difficult to respond with a good roundabout answer. And let's talk about how Tulsi was, I believe, the best and won that debate, if anyone could be considered winning that debate. So I love the way that she responded to Pete. Honestly, I felt like it didn't quite land exactly the way she wanted it to, the way it did with Kamala Harris, but I think it would have, as she had mentioned the fact that, I don't know, all the weird issues that have been going on in Mayor Pete's town about how he got the sheriff fired. Why is no one pulling Mayor Pete down? I mean, let's be honest. He's wrapped up in a scandal where he helped get the first black police chief fired. So why is that not mentioned at all? There was a race question, and I'm confused as in why that question wasn't brought up at all. You want to tear him down? Let's talk about the truth of Mayor Pete. Or that he had a policy thing that he released that he lied about who was endorsing it and who was actually endorsing him. So it was very bizarre that none of these things were ever even mentioned. When, let's be honest, it's probably because they love him in the media. They think he's a great establishment figure to follow. He knows a lot of languages and can talk in circles around any actual question that's asked of him. So I really am saddened by the fact that this was not ever mentioned in the debate. But at the same time, I'm not surprised at all. Let's talk about Kamala Harris. Woo, man, this lady has got some dirt on her. She not only made sure to laugh about it on the Breakfast Club that she smoked pot after literally helping people stay in jail so that they could fight wildfires when they were under arrest for a non-violent crime like marijuana, which I think is pretty sad. That someone could outright laugh about the horrible injustices that she helped cause. At least Tulsi Gabbard called her out on this exact matter, so that was nice. I am waiting for someone else to come back at her for the fact that she helped bury a case for a head of a company that was giving money from the government subsidies during the huge bailout, and she buried the case. She buried the case when he was misappropriate with his funds and giving them to stockholders, and many people lost their homes, and other people got their pocket wallet fattened. How is this not mentioned in the fact that she wants to talk about justice and rights? Really, Kamala? There are so many times that Kamala Harris could have turned around and done the right thing for her state, her people, and all the injustices that they had been having. But instead, she decided to be on the elite side and turn a blind eye to the injustices that were going right in front of her. And that shows you right there what kind of president this woman would be. So to me, whenever I hear anyone talk about how great she would be, I think to myself, you must be living in identity politics, because this woman is not ever going to fight for the little guy or for anyone's rights. She's just going to make sure to fatten her own pockets and make sure she looks good. Then let's talk about Elizabeth Warren last night. She got too many questions. Let's be straight with that. And I know it's because she's establishment darling in certain rights. And I don't see it. She doesn't know how to explain any of her policies really well. She says the same talking points over and over again. And on top of the fact that the things she says have no substance most of the time. She's just talking in circles like any other politician, but it's even easier to see through her lies. And I have seen through her lies from the very beginning. And it makes me sad when anyone is pro-Warren and tries to compare her to Bernie, because let's be honest, she's not even close. She's not even close to anything like Bernie. And then we can talk about Bernie, who got barely any talking time himself, but he could have gone after Warren and discussed the huge differences in their Medicare for All plans. No one's discussing and picking that apart, which is a shame because it's come out recently that she wants to do this new structured plan that is a completely different plan for the first 3 years. And then in the last year, she thinks she's going to make it Medicare for All, which is bizarre and pretty much just a cop-out for actually doing anything when it comes to Medicare for All. So at least Bernie is solid with his plan. At least other people in the centrist department are solid with their plan. And I know certain people in the Yang gang want to say that Yang is not solid in his Medicare plan throughout the whole time, but I have seen solid response to exactly what he said he was going to do. And I really wish he had gotten this question, because maybe he could have talked about the serious issues within the structure that he wants to work on, like the price gouging and the fighting for our right to lower cost across the board. The fact that taxpayers are the ones paying for all these drugs that the market companies just slap their patent on and then think that that means that they can make a huge profit even though the taxpayers were the ones that funded the drug to begin with. It is bizarre to me the way the system has been set up, and I think it's admirable that Yang is sitting there talking about how it is corrupted and that we need to fix it. And even though I do believe in a Medicare for All system, I do believe that he wants to do it throughout the back way. He wants to go into the back door and make sure to trick the drug companies into thinking that he's not going to be kicking them out of business or the big pharma out of business, because he wants to actually change things. And he knows, come on, let's be honest, big pharma has so much money. There's no way that they won't have a huge push in making sure that any legislation for Medicare for All will get canceled and cut down or closed completely, any options taken off the table. And instead of going through the front door of Medicare for All, I believe that Yang is going through the backside entrance and trying to trick the big companies into believing that he's not trying to put them out of business, when in fact he is. And that, I believe, is the best tactic. After thinking about it long and hard for months now and not agreeing with him on this subject, I do believe that he has the best option in plan, because I do think that it could be killed in legislation right in the front gate. And I think that his way of doing it could do it. And I think he is such a decent human being and has the best intentions at hand, that if things started to go awry, that he would turn around and try to fix the problem, because I think he knows that we all need to be covered in a better way than what we are now. The system in play is broken, and I think he sees that. And I think that is why I have decided to go along and be on board with his idea of Medicare for All. Let's talk about the fact that Tom Steyer, he never answered the question, why would anyone want a billionaire corporate CEO as the leader of their country? Why is it when everyone is so angry at big money and establishment, would anyone want to vote for this guy? And the way that he got in was so sneaky. He just bought his way in there like a little snake. And then he wants to act like he wants our best interest? Come on, man. And oh man, I cannot handle another one-liner by Amy Klobuchar. She is like the scary embodiment of my mother, and believe me, I do not like my mother. I feel like she's always trying to act like she's super funny, and there's not any humor that I can attain from things that she says. I just feel embarrassed for her so many times. And then let's just talk about the fact that the whole setup itself was ridiculous. I mean, come on, Rachel, you're going to sit and open up with a question that you know that everyone on stage agrees with. We all want to impeach Trump. That's not what people are trying to tune in to the primaries for. It's been shown repeatedly in polls that no one cares about impeachment because they don't even think that it's going to get to the Senate. And that one bad faux pas on one side of the aisle is that very similar to the exact other faux pas. Yes, Biden, you are an embarrassment. It is sad that how defensive he is about the fact that he let his son sit in a board and make money off of the fact that he was in office. That is not acceptable. It doesn't matter if it's legal, it's morally unjust. And why is it okay that we sit back and try to impeach a president over conduct when other presidents themselves have done things like this? I mean, let's be honest here, people. He is not the worst president. And I dislike Trump just as much as most people out there. But you know what? I don't think he's the reason for all of our misery. And I surely don't think that he's the worst president that ever existed. It is bizarre to me that people think that just because he's brash and says horrible things, that makes him the very worst, when he has literally done some of the exact same things that other presidents have done in the past, but they were praised for it. How can other presidents literally lie and manipulate to start wars and not be called out for it, and yet he's the worst president ever? I'm failing to see that. Though I'm not going to say that he's great. This is not a defense for Trump at all, but as far as Trump goes, I just think that we shouldn't hold him up to the worst standard. You know, let's look at the structure itself and see what is really going on instead of doing the blame game of the superficial things. It's kind of like Kamala Harris and her straws on climate change. You think banning plastic straws is going to change climate change? You're sadly mistaken. So, that being said, let's talk about the fact that the mediators were horrible, talking about impeachment, and then the fact that every other question that they talked about was not good. Let's be honest, they weren't really discussing the true issues and any kind of actual policies that were going on between them. I saw a slight effort, but overall it was pretty bad questioning. And when you don't allow for everyone to have equal speaking time, it screams that you are not fair, you are not being calculated in the fact that people are understanding that you are putting their candidate on the very end of the totem pole. Yes, I am talking about Andrew Yang, and he gets blacked out all the time. And I agree with Pageant. We need to go out there and we need to protest at MSNBC. And if there was any way that I could fly to New York, I would be a part of that, because I think it's important that people need to realize that they are being seriously blacking Yang out in the way that just makes me so sad. He deserves so much more than that, and all of his followers, just like me, really want to see him talk. He is the most interesting person up there. Thank you, Crystal. He is the most interesting candidate out there, and even Crystal Ball pointed it out that no one really even tried to have a conversation with the most interesting candidate on the stage. I'm going to leave a few links for anyone that is interested in looking for some of the critiques I did on some of the other candidates. And absolutely, I am open to listen to anyone's critique of my critique. And I am very interested into hearing what everyone has to say. Thank you for listening. You guys have a great day. Talk to you soon.